Oh. And one more. Blah, blah, blah.
Bloop, 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 bloop. And with that, I will. No, that's not F1. I want you to mute. There you go. Mute.
All right. All right.
Now muted.
Okay.
My phone.
We're good there. Oh, tweeting. That would be the other thing. Tweeting now. I have tweeted. All right. Let's see. Retweeting.
I have retweeted.
Bless you.
Yeah, it's just an annoying cough.
I will retweet.
I'll take one of these things now. These are the super powerful ones. Halls, they put the Vix in them.
Right. Yay, Max has us live.
Oh, fabulous. Thank you, Max.
Hooray.
I need to do that. Hi.
Hello, guys. I'm just going to sit over here and sip my tea.
Okay.
You sip that tea.
I'm leading the monkey show.
Yes, sir.
Looks like it.
So my notes say.
It's never a good idea, honestly. All right. Here's Sybil. Looks like Sybil's typing. Max has us. All right. Well, I think we are good to go. Chat room, get in here. All right, we're good.
All right. They see us. They hear us.
Here we go. All right, going in 5, 4, 3. On this episode of the AIE Podcast.
New suckers. I mean officers have heard the call.
Fallout 76 launch detected.
ESO is surging.
The fleet has made huge strides.
And we have the AIE year in review.
All that and more coming up right now.
Bringing you the latest news from the AIE gaming community from planet Earth and beyond. This is the AIE Podcast.
Welcome to episode 310 of the podcast celebrating you, the Alia Iacta Est gaming community. The Die Has Been podcast. This is Tetsemi, and to my left and upstairs is McCullough.
Hey guys, there's snickerdoodle cheesecake and homemade marshmallows in the guild kitchen.
Yes, but not in the real kitchen. That's the disappointment. All right.
I'll work on the marshmallows.
I know. And to my right is Mewcow.
Greetings, Vault Dwellers.
This week, we are ending the year in style and reviewing the highlights from the past year as well. So, before we get into all that, let's find out what we've been doing in and out of games besides trying to ignore Apollos, who's trying to taunt McCullough because, you know, that's Apollos.
Right, so, exactly. One verbal typo. One verbal typo.
So, speaking of verbal typos, McCullough, what have you been up to?
Really? Okay. We're starting with this.
I blame Apollos. All right.
No, I would blame.
What have you been up to?
Actually, I'll blame Apollos too. It's been pretty busy the last 2 weeks. You know, a few holidays. We had early Thanksgiving last Sunday, which is why we didn't end up. Well, we didn't have a schedule last Sunday. You have to pardon me. It was a busy week. That involved, a lot of prep work. Croissants to be made and sides to be made, and luckily we had a small fleet of kitchen helpers, 2 teenagers. That was good. Took some time off of work to get ready to hang out with you guys for Thanksgiving itself, and only the Sith deal in absolutes. Oy vey. All that. Be gaming a little bit again. Our Monday game is back in swing, which is great. We had been on pause since April, actually. So that's been nice to kind of jump back into that. The weekend game that I've been doing with the Tadpole folks. In fact, we played this we played about an hour before the show is when our game ended. So that was great. In fact, Sweetgrass was in the chat room, and we literally just got done hanging out with each other and really enjoying playing with this group of people. Really good energy, different levels of experience with the players. So it's kind of fun to see that through different people, and loving the world, loving all that. And let's see, weekend or the Thursday group that I play with, we didn't play last week because, Thanksgiving, but we did play the week before. So we're kind of trying to get back into the swing of things before the holidays just kind of blow it all to heck and back.
Awesome. And what about you still moving out of boxes?
Oh, yes. It looks a little bit better behind me, but believe me, you don't see the mess that's behind the camera. So.
Right.
Is your son still sitting in whatever box he happens to think he fits in because he's a cat?
Oh, actually, right now he thinks he's a puppy. And hush.
Oh, okay.
Because we got a neat little device from, not device, but a bit of furniture from IKEA that's has a magnetic crate-looking doors.
Uh-huh.
Mm-hmm.
And he's decided to put himself in there on a regular basis, like he's creating.
All right,
so that's sort of thing. But other than that, last week on Saturday, we did go to the Texas Renaissance Fair.
Mm-hmm.
Fun was had by all, but in the old-timey sense.
Yes.
Yes, that's always a fun. It's about a 2.5 hour drive there, 2.5 drive back.
Wow.
But this year, they didn't shoo us out at dark.
Yeah. That is what your wife mentioned.
Yeah, which was, I loved it. It was the fact that you got to stay there after dark, and a lot of the stuff that you can't tell that's going on because it's more light based.
Mm-hmm.
This definitely pops out a lot better. And then there was for example, there's a guy that does whip demonstrations,
mm-hmm.
and at night he sets the whips on fire. So,
right.
So just little things like that. It was just really neat to wander around this giant. It's like a 30-acre, just a place that's dedicated just to the Renaissance Fair, and they have it the whole full fall.
And the
Nice.
neat thing is that the Texas Renaissance Festival is actually one of the longest continuous run Renaissance festivals in the U.S. And in fact, this is the first one I heard about when I was reading books like 25 years ago, like fantasy books. The Texas Renaissance Festival would get mentioned.
Yeah, I think they've been around for 30 years or so.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's definitely one of the longest. I think it is the biggest.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's massive. It's just outside of Houston. And it's one of those things that if you really want to feel a Renaissance fair, you want to try this out. It's a full event. Not only that, if you're into the whole camping experience, they have or glamping or whatever you want to call it. They have cabins as well, I believe. But there's just a whole field of places for tents and campers and all kinds of other stuff. If you want to do the full on, you're staying there overnight and then going in the second it opens and staying there until it closes. If you just want to live that life, it's there.
I could do the cabin part of it. I don't think I could do the camping part. But what I'm hearing is we need to fly into Houston some weekend, get a hotel room, have you guys meet us at the hotel, and then we could hit the Renaissance Festival early in the morning and stay all day, and then go back to the hotel and sleep before flying out.
Honestly, we want to do the same because of that 2.5 hour drive.
Yeah. You're 5 hours on the road.
Yeah, so I'm next year I think we want to actually get a hotel room for the night before. That way we can hit it the second it opens, and then just be there, just live there for the day.
Exactly.
There's just so much. Every time we go, it's always something different, just because of how big and how varied it is. The acts, there are a lot of the same acts stay, but every now and then new ones come in.
Mm-hmm.
There's new shop keeps. It's a full experience.
Yeah.
So
very cool.
Highly recommended. Let me know if you want to plot and come visit.
Yeah.
But
she's always plotting. That's her secret.
Mini plots, handle it.
Handle them.
So other than that, of course, the Thanksgiving, we had Thanksgiving and friends. It was a potluck, so that was fun. We made some sliced potatoes, which apparently is I didn't know was what is a New England thing where you do sliced potatoes and goose fat. We didn't do the goose fat part, but But apparently that's a thing that's for Thanksgiving, and so I don't know. We'll have to look into that for next time. But
yeah,
that sounds good.
In fact,
yeah,
Jen's busy making another batch right now. So
awesome.
So yeah, so that's fun. And then other than that, just being distracted by Fallout 76, which we'll talk a bit about next a bit later.
It's great.
Yes, absolutely.
What have you been doing, Dad?
Right.
Besides
what
cleaning
I have
up
been
after
doing, well, what I have been doing is a lot of. We did raid, and I don't think it wasn't last week. It was the week before we finally got Zool down for the first time.
Congrats.
So we were 6 of 8 on normal, which is good. We're going to go back in tonight and hopefully down him again, and then work on
the chaos that is Mithrax.
Yes.
It's literally jump into chaos.
Exactly. And then other than that, just kind of waiting because the new patch will come out second week of December. So kind of waiting for all that story content and stuff to come out. So I'm just kind of in a maintenance mode where log in, do my world quests, see if anyone needs invites, log back out. But I have been playing a lot of Diablo 3 with the new season. I got the Necromancer and Dark Anders, one of the AIE community members that we used to raid with, has been playing a lot of Diablo 3. So he took me through a couple of puzzle ring gold, the gold room scenarios, and then a couple of regular rifts. So got that done, and that got me enough Paragon levels to finish off the 3 or the 4 seasonal chapters you needed to get your complete set of armor, which looks really cool. So I have that done on my Necromancer, and then I'm just kind of plodding along trying to get the Reaver title. The only thing I really haven't worked on yet is the dungeon set, and I've got to get a couple more Paragon levels to get up to Torment 7. I can do a Torment 5 right now without too much trouble. Just depends on the boss. So just having a lot of fun doing that, and being a curmudgeonly dwarf in our live role-playing game that we do Monday nights. So having fun with that. It's good to roll the dice again. He's not a curmudgeon. He's just his first go-to instinct when somebody says, I need you to go find this person and kill them and bring this back is that really the first option, is to kill them? Okay.
Well, what we need to bring back was somebody's true love. And yes, I'm okay with the whole, going to a dangerous island of great treasures and rescuing, helping someone rescue their true love. Sorry.
See, you just fell for the whole thing. Hook, line, and sinker. Book's a little bit more of a skeptic. I don't know why.
Is hilarious because I'm the rogue.
I know, and the cleric's the skeptic. So
yeah, but I had to do some manipulation to convince people.
Yeah, exactly. All right, but that's what I've been up to. And so I think with that, let's go ahead and jump into all the AIE news and our year in review that everyone was nice enough to send us into. So
Thank
we're
you
going to
guys.
kick that off. Yep, now.
AIE News.
All right. From time to time, AIE evaluates the roles and jobs of the officers that oversee all of our game divisions, wow, words are hard, and that do the back end work. In doing that, we recently identified the need for a bit more help in a couple of areas. In particular, SOTOR 5.10 is going to take what we've been doing in that division with the guild conquest system and crank it up to 11. And then to 65 plus, of course. Guild leveling, conquest changes, guild perks are all going to require additional focus and officer roles. As a result, 2 new officers have been added. They will continue to be the primary SOTOR focused, but we might be calling on them to help guide the community as needed as well. The first one of those new officers is B. Kavanaugh, BCAV, or BC. They've taken the role of conquest strategizer for the guild for many months, and its contributions in this area have extended into the greater SOTOR gaming community as well. Excuse me. The other victim is Zen. Zen's been with us for years and has chosen, and true to his gamer tag, he's cool and level-headed without a fail. He's one of those top helpers in the guild, always ready to assist with any ask, and goes out of his way to consistently make himself available. Please hold.
Here.
Thank you. Also in the conquest management role, Zen has become a lead tactical executioner. No, tactical execution lead.
Well, it depends on what you're doing. You know.
Exactly. It depends if it's on imp side or pub side.
Yep.
Exactly.
Just saying.
So welcome to Zen and B. Kavanaugh.
Yep.
We hope you survive the experience.
Congratulations.
Yeah, exactly.
All right. And in mandatory fun night news, where the fun is mandatory, but the attendance is not, but it should be. Monday, Guild Wars 2 will be at 9:30 p.m. Eastern. Tuesday, SWTOR will be at 9 p.m. Eastern. Friday, ESO and Final Fantasy XIV are both at 9 p.m. Eastern. And then Saturday, we have STO at 10 p.m. Eastern and new raids starting at 11 p.m. Eastern in WoW. Just as a heads up, make sure you're checking into each game to find out what games are on hold for the holidays, because obviously we're going to be distracted with Sugar Plum dancing and all that other fun stuff going on.
Awesome. All right. In streaming and podcast news, SWTOR Escape Podcast 267, our guild goes to 11. SEMA, Max the Gray, and Astromech EPC 267 are joined by the two new officers, Zen and BC, to walk through the 3.5.10 guild update posts and details from the recent dev livestream. And in 268, do you want to build a lightsaber? Of course you do. This week, SEMA, Max the Gray, and Astromech EPC 268 talk through bits of 510 news from Eric Musco, Charles Boyd, and Jackie Chow. And we finally get to build our lightsabers on Tython. And Working Class Nerds, episode 29, speaking of Eric Musco, the community chat with Eric Musco. Marcus and Nick sit down with SWTOR, the Old Republic senior community manager, Eric Musco. And as Captain America says to Iron Man, language! Rated explicit due to language from the hosts. It's a great podcast, but probably not family friendly. It's good though.
Unless it's our family.
Yeah, you know.
Teenager has a mouth. Oh, never mind. Wow. Sorry about that. Okay, and in Nomad's news, and I'm certain that my fair co-host is going to be buttoning here because he's been playing a lot of this lately. But in Fallout 76. The launch went fairly smooth, but this is a Bethesda's game. Bugs are plentiful as attacking goals. Servers or worlds would occasionally have issues and crash, but there was always a new one waiting for you to move to. PvP is a non-issue if you wish to avoid it, almost similar to war mode in WoW, where you don't have to retaliate or are set in pacifist mode. It's not worth the attacker's time to even try to kill you. And if they're persistent, you can easily switch worlds and never see them again. If someone manages to kill a pacifist player, they become a wanted target for the entire server/world. Ooh, nice. Showing up on the map at all times and bounties being paid from their own caps. We do have several AIE members running amok in the game, and you can chat and find more in the Nomad channel on AIE Discord. So Mew, tell us what's going on there.
Yep. So it launched on, was it Tuesday? I think it was this Tuesday, or maybe it was, it wasn't the current Tuesday or the week Tuesday before. Anyway.
Yeah, that's what Kenny was saying.
Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, it's a Bethesda game, so it's the same engine that Fallout 4 is on, the one that came from Fallout 3, and they kind of used for New Vegas with some modifications. So it has all those usual bugs. It's definitely ambitious. It's definitely has a lot of server interface bugs, kind of stuff that I've been in the industry. I can kind of see a lot of it because of my knowledge of behind the scenes stuff. I can tell there's going to be a lot of learning. They are definitely trying this multiplayer thing for the first time. I actually watched some of the. They had a couple of documentaries talking about this. And the biggest hurdle they had to come across was the fact that in all of the Bethesda games, for the most part, that character is the center of the universe. Yep. Because the rest of the game doesn't care if the character's not there, the rest of the game's not going on. So they had to tell their engine, no, everything needs to keep going, because there's not just one center of the universe anymore. Now there's 20.
So kind of like the issue with ESO and Skyrim and all that, where a total change of mindset.
Yes. So it's ESO is a little different because they went at that knowing it's an MMO. So they started from the MMO going out, whereas here they had to start from the single player RPG and then add MMO. So, and it's kind of, it's not massively multiplayer, it's moderately multiplayer. At most you'll have 20 or 30 people on your little world at a time. And they limited the groups. You can have up to 4 people in your group. But interestingly enough, if everyone adds each other as friends, you can join your friend on their world. So you can kind of unofficially have like an AIE server essentially, if you just have everyone join in on like one main person. You can't all group up. You can only have up to 4, but you're all in the same group. You're all interacting together. So you can actually have a pretty good sized server of people with that stuff going on. So it's, there's a way to kind of get in there and have fun with all your friends, even if you have more than 4.
And if you get a chance, can you put in the AIE Discord the easiest way to add friends? Because I know that was Kenny's biggest issue, was she couldn't find the interface panel or wherever it was to accept the friend requests.
Yeah, it's because it's under a key press. It's Control Tab.
Oh, okay.
That's it. You just hit Control Tab. It brings up the social tab. The other way to begin there is to go to the settings menu and then go to social. But Control Tab goes straight to it. And the other confusing thing that people have been tripping up is you can't go by your character name. You have to go by the account name.
Oh, okay.
Because a lot of people have been trying to put in the character names, thinking, "Oh yeah, my character's this thing. My character's this thing." That doesn't work. It'll pretend like it's working, but nothing happens.
Okay.
Gotcha. Okay.
And of course, because this is new server code, sometimes, like last night, I actually added Aludra on there, and it took twice. I had to type her name in twice for it to finally say, "Oh, you mean that Aludra? Oh, okay, right. I see you now." And then we were able to connect. So,
gotcha.
So it's just this server code is new. It's all new stuff. They are able to talk to the ZeniMax guys, but ZeniMax, their code is completely different. I mean, if you look at look at ESO and look at Skyrim, they're not the same. They're not. It's that ZeniMax worked on that, and they took some stuff from Skyrim, but it's a different beast. This literally is Fallout 4 multiplayer.
Yeah,
it is the Fallout 4 engine that they've tweaked, and I can see a lot of improvements that they've added, a lot of quality of life that I kind of hope they backport to Fallout 4. Because there's just some really cool stuff that they added. There's some stuff they took away, of course, because this is the other thing that if you're going into this game expecting Fallout 4, it's not. It's definitely the Fallout 4 has a survival mode. If you want to have a little bit more challenge where you have to eat and drink and all this stuff, that's what this is. This is the survival mode for Fallout 4, and then also multiplayer.
Right,
gotcha.
right.
So you're going to be eating and drinking and worrying about catching diseases and getting mutations, all this other crazy stuff.
And the radiation and the rads and all that,
Making sure you can filter your water, all that, so you don't get dysentery. Yeah, Kitty had mentioned that Monday night went through the River game.
Yeah, I had a Oregon Trail chuckle because one day one of my characters got dysentery.
Yeah.
So.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah. So yeah, it's all kinds of fun stuff. I mean, it's funny, and it's at the most an inconvenience. The survival isn't that bad. It's nowhere near the level of Rust or some of the other crazy. All that stuff. Nowhere near that bad. It's more of an inconvenience than anything. It makes it seem a little bit more realistic, but honestly, I think I drink more in that game than I do in real life. It feels like, oh, you're thirsty. Oh, you're thirsty. Oh, you're thirsty. So, but
right.
It's like having a toddler running the game. Gotcha.
Right. At bedtime.
Yeah, but and speaking of bedtime, when the toddler goes to bed, me and the wife we play together. We explore this world together. It's been awesome. We actually found this little hidden spot underneath a food processing center that was you just totally stumble across it, and you find this huge underground layer thing going on, and we found all kinds of cool stuff in there, and it was just amazing to be able to do that with the wife, you know, and
Yeah, that's a great date night.
Yeah, it's been a lot of fun. So that's it. And the only thing I can think of is there's been people that have been saying, no, this is this isn't a good game. It's not Fallout, and I just have to wonder what game they're playing.
Right.
Because I mean,
it's not the Fallout they wanted.
Exactly. It's the same that you hear about Star Wars or any of that, where it wasn't what they were expecting, so it's wrong.
How dare you not tell us about the Diablo 4 when you told us you weren't going to tell us about Diablo 4?
Exactly.
Just it's that weird. I don't know where these noisy gamers have come from, but I've been learning to just ignore them and enjoy the game.
Well, I'm certain with your experience in the industry too.
Yeah,
you have to tune that stuff out.
Yeah. But yeah, it's been a ton of fun. I definitely recommend. I mean, especially now with it on sale. It's right now. It's the regular edition is $35. Great. I will recommend don't touch the Tricentennial edition. You're basically paying extra for some paint jobs.
Okay.
Right.
It's on. I mean, it came with the edition I got, and where is that thing? You're all for those watching at home.
Giant wanders off screen.
Yeah, it came in this giant box.
Oh, good lord!
Yeah.
So this came with where did I put that thing? Is it in here? It might be, but it actually came with a power armor helmet.
I was like, you guys really needed that though, because considering how much your the missus is into this game, that had to be purchased in your household.
Yes, and we've got bobbleheads everywhere, and we have a dog meat nearby, and I mean we're really into this game.
And I know she's working on the Fallout dress Fallout elaborate dress for Ren Fair.
Yeah, she's working. So last year when we went to the Ren Fair, speaking of that, she made the mistake of not going in costume.
Yeah, never do that as a cosplayer.
Yes, so she was immediately drawn to a company called Silverleaf, cosplay Silverleaf something or other, and they make these geeky Renaissance Fair outfits. So she got the Batgirl corset.
Oh, nice.
Which actually works out well. Because they actually have themed weekends at the Texas Renaissance Fair, and one of them is Heroes.
Perfect.
Oh, cool.
So, so she talked to them at this last weekend, and the daughter of the dressmaker also plays Fallout, and they were already planning on making this dress. And she's like, "Okay, I'm going to piggyback. I want that dress." So she's going to make this full-on corset dress for Fallout and do the full-on vault dweller, but Victorian steampunky kind of thing.
Perfect.
So
cool.
Yeah, it's come join us, guys. It's $35. It's definitely worth the $35. I obviously bought it at the full price, but for $35 you're going to get a ton of really good story. It's not spoon-fed to you like Fallout 4. There's not a pretty looking human in your face telling you everything. But there's humans, there's ghouls, there's robots giving you quests. There's stuff to do. There's plenty to do in this game.
Awesome.
Cool.
All right.
And speaking of plenty to do, I think Destiny 2 also came out with other stuff, didn't it?
They did. So the free copy of Year 1 is no longer available, but the Refer a Friend is still ongoing. If you pick up a free copy, if you did pick up your free copy of Year 1 and you're thinking of purchasing Year 2 Forsaken expansion, see about having a guildie invite so you can do both. So you can both get some fun bonus goodies with this. It includes experience bonus for both of you if you're below the level cap for Forsaken, which is 50. It also opens up a number of exclusive quests to complete together to get an exotic sniper rifle, an exclusive ship, and the friendship and emblem. So basically, yeah, it's very, very, very much a good Refer a Friend program. Those are refer multiple friends will be able to earn the exclusive Sparrow. Not Sparrowhawk. If you recently bought Forsaken and it was less than 7 days ago, you'll still be able to be referred by another player to activate the bonus. So go ahead and look into that, those who have done that so far.
Yeah, the Forsaken story has been awesome as well. I really enjoyed it. It went darker. I think that's what a lot of people were worried about when in Year 1 it was too bright and shiny, and we were all shining examples.
Right.
Yeah.
Bright and shiny, and yet it was the destruction of your entire world.
Exactly.
Yeah, just light stuff.
Oh, but it's all about the light. But yeah, the Forsaken story has been fun. I didn't like what happened, but that's story wise. but I definitely agreed with what was going on. It's been great. They've done a lot of quality of life improvements. And yeah, it's there's actually been a resurgence. I've seen a sudden flood in of new guildies jumping into the Destiny 2 stuff. We've had to make quite a bit of room to get everybody in. So there's people here, they're playing, and waiting for you to come join us.
Awesome.
Yeah, I think about half of the Better Late Than Never raid team joined in recently. So
nice
from AIE WoW. So.
Yeah, the raids in that game are definitely challenging and satisfying once you get them down.
Cool.
Awesome. So what's going on in WoW, Mew?
Well, just to give everyone a reminder, New Braid will be on holiday break beginning December 15th and resuming back on January 5th.
That damn Kenny, whatever.
Yeah, so lazy. So other than that, we have AIE and WoW in review. So we have some fun infographic type number things going on. Mm-hmm. Number one, there were 112 gnomes killed during Coop this year. However, we still have time to add to those numbers with our annual Wintervale Coop coming up in December. Time to be announced and secretly discussed.
Mm-hmm.
Number two, 4,235 battle potions were used on Heroic Argus, along with 10,678 Warlock cookies. Don't ask what's in those cookies.
It's the souls that make them delicious.
Never ask what's in the cookies.
Yeah, pay no attention to the green enthrobingness of them. Number three, an average of 7.7 players ask when New Braid invites go out between 9 and 11 p.m. every Saturday night.
I believe that one.
That seems low.
Low.
It does.
Low.
It does.
I think they mean 70.7.
Yeah,
there you go.
Number four, 141 left sharks were mailed to Cyrene, bringing the current total to 426. Obviously, she needs more.
I hear that's what she wants for Wintervale.
Yes.
We'll get right on
Send
that.
her a wrapped left shark.
Yes.
And number five, 682 pots of coffee were brewed in the guild kitchen. The Irish cream was optional.
Oh, that sounds really good right now.
I think we have some in the fridge, honey.
Yeah, I know. All right.
Number six, Ralph's amazing race was so amazing that the amazing officers want to do this amazing event every year. Isn't that amazing?
Huzzah.
Huzzah.
It is.
All right. Onward to what arrives in patch 8.1, starting on December 11th, but susceptible to time waiting. It's that new thing where even though the patch is live, that doesn't mean that everything's going to be immediately launched unless you just eat it all up. So we start with continuation of the war campaign, so we can find out what in the world's going on with us and figuring out what's going on with our lovely war chief. And then heritage armor for blood elves and dwarves.
Yeah, I got to get my blood elf leveled up. She's only 102 or 112 because you have to be max level with a blood elf, and you have to be exalted with Silvermoon.
Yeah, which is pretty typical, but you still have to check, especially if it was a boosted tune.
Yeah. Yep.
And then they will be doing Paragon reputation rewards. So at first they said no.
Yeah.
They said, no, we're not going to do that. We don't want you to grind that out. And then we're like, but it's just going to happen anyway. Okay, fine. Here's some reputation rewards. All right.
Exactly.
We'll also be seeing the continuation of the Sarfang and Tyrande quest lines. Tyrande. To see what's going on with them, because some stuff's going to go down. Last we heard from Sarfang, he was busy doing some stuff somewhere else.
Yeah.
Nice
and also, this is going to be the first real step in the direction of hopefully more to come, where your game decision actually matters, because there's going to be I won't go into the spoiler, but there's going to be a point where it's like, are you siding with this person or this person?
Exactly.
And that decision is going to, make a difference in the story further down. So very much similar to what Final Fantasy XIV and SOTOR do with their decision trees. So it's going to be interesting to see how that plays out.
Just dipping their toe in it. Just dipping the toe.
Yep.
There will be new island expeditions and a vendor, so you can actually buy the stuff that's not randomly dropping for you.
Yeah.
There will be incursions, which are similar to how the demon invasions happen in Legion, but instead it's going to be the opposite faction invading. So that'll be interesting.
You tried them off Kulturas or Zandalar, depending on your faction.
Mm-hmm. They are going to make a lot of reputation credits account-wide, including transmogs that require a certain reputation. That way, once you've earned the Exalted on one toon, you don't have to keep doing it over and over to use like the toys and transmogs and all that kind of stuff. You've earned it once. Why should you have to earn it over and over again? Yep. They're also going to make flight paths account-wide, because again, nice. You found it. Why should you find it over and over and over again? And it's one of those things where they were already giving it to you on your alts, like once the new expansion came out anyway. So it's like, why make this hassle? Just do it. Just do it.
Yeah, it's interesting to see how they're doing it, because in level 1 to 60, you have an heirloom book that will unlock, Eastern Kingdoms or the other continent. Kalimdor, thank you. But this time it's going to be a purchasable item that you then ship to whatever alt you want to unlock the flight paths on, which, I don't know if they're just going for the gold sync aspect of it and why they didn't go to the heirloom side of it. But it's very much like the Legion books that you could buy once you maxed out your reputation and send those to other tunes. So it'd be interesting to see how that works.
Well, apparently it's probably because they apparently think there's still too much gold, because there's people buying those Brontosaurus mounts left and right. So
yeah, which is crazy. I have no idea how they're doing that, but
yeah. And then for those that liked the Warfront over in Arathi Basin, there will be a new Darkshore Warfront and Darkshore Overworld revamp, kind of how they did the Arathi Basin, or Arathi Highlands, rather, how they revamped that whole area. They're going to do something similar to Darkshore. It won't be like the full-on deal like they did for Highlands, but it'll be pretty close. And it's going to continue the story there, because obviously we're kind of curious what's going on over there.
And the armor is going to be Forsaken themed for the Horde and Night Elf themed for the Alliance side. So new transmog.
Yep. And hopefully not just tattered close.
No. No, I've seen some of the like what the Dark Rangers wear, or the Forsaken the Elite Forsaken Guards wear. It's really cool.
Yeah. And other than that, there will be some class changes and tweaks. So they're fixing some classes that definitely got the bad hand in the last round of stuff. I think monks are getting a tweak as well. There's I know the prot warriors are getting a buff.
Thank God.
Bear tanks are getting a buff as well.
Yes.
So that's definitely, we're all looking forward to that. Shaman, yeah. Well, shaman are used to it, but hey, you're getting a leg up finally.
Yeah.
But then they're also going to change a bit of how leveling is done. Their usual bits of catch up here and there. So that's all to be expected. And then Champions of Azeroth reputation changes are coming.
Yep. So that one is once you get revered with Champions of Azeroth on one toon, all your other alts can go visit Magni and immediately get their neck piece leveled up 3 times. So it'll give you 45 item levels on the neck piece, which will be nice, along with the reduction in XP on the leveling changes. So
yeah,
cool.
And that's it. There's definitely a lot coming, and that's just for the patch. The new raid tier doesn't come until sometime next year. So
yeah, that'll be, I think, 815 that they're going to do in January.
Yep. So they're going to give everyone a chance to do the whole end of year holiday stuff and get settled in with the new changes before they throw a new raid at us.
Exactly. Yes, Seema, shamans are getting ketchup.
Yep, they've had mustard all this time.
Got it.
They should relish the changes. Oh no, we're not going there. All right.
No, we're not doing that. That was cheesy.
I know. And in SWTOR news, SOTOR year-end wrap-up for this podcast, brought to you by SEMA. Thank you so much for doing this. This was awesome. Just for everyone that wanted to know, the AIE WoW stats were done by Cyrene and Beef. We really appreciate that. Beefmaster and Cyrene. All right. 2018 started off with the last of 2017 snowballs on Nar Shaddaa, followed closely by Zen reminding people that they can get mats from the guild cargo hold to do their conquest crafting. 2018 also saw 3 operation bosses in various difficulty modes. Skyva, Mother of Sorrows, Nahut, the Hated Sun, and Isaac's, the Destroyer of pretty much everything and everyone on every mode. Yes. The guild came together to get all of the operation teams a chance to down Isaac's. Unlike WoW, there are no raid lockouts. So what the teams did was one team would go in and clear up to Isaac, and then another team would come in and they could start at Isaac with that same run and then work their chances to get Isaac down. So that worked out really well. The guild did an awesome job on both sides coming together to get that taken care of. All right. Appleus is taunting us again. All right. We got a new Flashpoint, a new PvP map, a new conquest revamp, and the Rishi Stronghold. Also, as we mentioned earlier, we have a new podcast, Working Class Nerds, hosted by Marcus and Nick. We had a great year for guild growth, and as a result, we moved the MFN and Conquest schedule from 2 weeks of Imp, 1 week of Pub, to every other week for both. So they're now doing each equally, and both are very active. And speaking of new things, we got 4 new officers: Dent, Marcus, Zen, and BC. Marcus ran his first mega event in June. It's already become a monthly tradition, which is a monthly epic guild activity. And there will be one coming up for December, so keep your eyes out for that. Marcus also instigated an operations night with all the current SOTOR podcasters that was streamed by multiple content creators. It was called SOTOR Unite, and they had fun. If I remember correctly, Nick was dead for pretty much the entire podcast after getting roped in by Max, and it was awesome. If you want to hear some of that, listen to the last Working Class Nerds with Eric Musco, and you can hear the update from Nick and how he got roped into that. That was fun. BC created and published and maintained his conquest calculator, which helps guildies and the rest of the SOTOR community plan out their conquest activities. And that spreadsheet really has gotten picked up by the community, and there are a lot of guilds using it. So really appreciate BC's work on that. Dents has started Flashpoint Fridays, which is a casual pop-up event for running small group content. Flashpoints are generally 4 players, so they get together and run some Flashpoints. Get people into Flashpoints that they haven't done before and things like that. And Zen continues to keep the mats flowing and shepherds us to help conquest success week in and week out. And yes, if you're wondering where the materials in the guild vault randomly appear from, generally it's Zen and other contributors, but a lot of the time it's Zen. We also had fun times on the public test servers, maxing out our characters and their gear and killing bosses. And that was fun. Got some time with Matt and got to do some of that and see some of the new content coming out. And we actually conquered a planet. We conquered Balmora. So there, everyone that was in that week got their Conqueror of Balmora titles. That was a fun week to be active in that. And as we mentioned earlier, Astromech EPC 268 is floating out in space, broadcasting the 268th edition of the SOTOR Escape podcast with Max and Seema. But 2018 is not over yet. We'll finish the year with the 5.10 update coming sometime in December, hopefully early December, which will include a new story, new daily area, new guild progression system, private PvP and Galactic Starfighter instances for guilds, a new armor tier, and much, much more. So hang out in the SOTOR channel and take a look at that.
Well, clearly it's been a busy year for SOTOR. It's also been a busy year in Star Trek Online. Big things have happened for this year to the fleet. Fleet leadership switched from Captain Hunter to Captain Greybog. The fleet made some big strides in the fleet holdings. Starbase was upgraded from Tier 4, and the Starbase military was also upgraded to Tier 4. This has unlocked a large number of fleet ships for us. The Fleet Research Lab. Wow, the Fleet Research Lab was fully completed, unlocking more traits and R&D project slot on some of the top gear. The Fleet Spire is over halfway done and upgrading fully, which will unlock more awesome gear for our fleet. As for STO, we received the Victory is Life expansion, bringing back the Dominion and allowing us to create Jem'Dara captains, and of course
Jem'Hadar.
Wow, and of course more story, and the last, and of course the latest story is based on the Discovery TV series and the Age of Discovery. Ships updated in Tier 6 variants from the show, and some really interesting episodes were added. Okay, yeah, thank you. And Reebok's schedule has changed around some, so it's going to be looking to find a time for people that will allow a fun night for the fleet to continue, chat, blow up some enemy ships, and have some fun. So, set phasers to fun. This should be coming back soon. Keep an eye on the STO channels and out of game and Discord, and of course, just the general AIE chat.
Yep. All right. In Final Fantasy XIV news, Shadowbreakers has been announced as the new expansion for Final Fantasy XIV. We are likely going to be going to the Garlean Empire. Not confirmed, but it's looking very likely. The reason why a lot of this stuff is going to be like kind of not totally concrete is they have 3 fan fests. They start with the US one, then they have, I think they do the European one next, and then they have a Japanese one.
Right.
So they kind of have to give you like a third of the info at each one. That way, none of the fan fests feel like they've been
left out at all, and they get a piece of the puzzle.
Yep. So we think we might be going to the Garlean Empire. It's looking very confusing, but the Warrior of Light might be becoming the Warrior of Darkness, which is very confusing because we've already seen a Warrior of Darkness with a whole like team of darkness. So very weird and confusing. Who knows what's going on? If you've seen the video from FanFest, we will have this in our hands, barring any delays, in the summer of 2019. So look forward to that. There will, of course, be a new level cap. There are multiple new classes are likely. And we were curious why Thancred in the trailer was sporting a gunblade. Because right now, the closest class we have to that is Mechanist, but they just use standard handguns, shotguns, and other just regular guns. So it's interesting that it's a gunblade, which might hint to a possible new class. There will be new endgame content for crafters and gatherers. The rebuild of Ishgard has begun. It's hinted at the idea of housing in Ishgard may also be available related to this. There may also be some farming possible, but not as a class. So that'll be interesting. They've talked a bit about what they call New Game Plus. And then in particular, they're doing something called Trusts or something similar. That's still kind of hazy because it's a system that's currently in Final Fantasy XI, the other MMO. But they like the idea, but they're not going to make it a carbon copy of it. But to give you an idea, in Final Fantasy XIV, once you've earned it, you can summon popular NPCs to help you in your adventuring. They'll have their own class or role, and they'll help you and kind of have like a little party. Parties in Final Fantasy XIV are 4. So that you can get 3 other people to help you, and it's that way. If you're not always playing at a time when you have a static group, as they call it, you can still do some of the content with these little extra NPCs. In Final Fantasy XI, they do not level up on their own, and they're based on your current level. That way, you can swap to whatever class you want at the time and level that up with those NPCs. Also, they talked about something they called world visiting. You'll be able to visit the server, another server inside your data center. So what that means is right now, Goblin, the server we're on, is in a data center with a bunch of other servers, including Gilgamesh, where we used to be. So when this goes live, you'll be able to visit another server, and they'll throw you into that server. You won't be able to do everything, because you're a visitor. You're not going to be able to use your auction house stuff. You're not going to be able to buy anything while you're there because you're a visitor. You're essentially, we essentially are going to be able to just kind of adventure with people over there, but we're not going to be able to interact with anything. Related to this, there's going to be a bit of world reshuffling. They'll be adding more servers, and they're going to do a bit of regrouping. We'll talk a bit about that down below. Those of you that are still using the 32-bit version of the game, you're going to need to look into possibly upgrading your PC because we're going to be going to 64-bit only mode. Which it's a good thing all around. It means that they'll no longer have to develop for the 32-bit game, and everything will from that point on just be 64-bit. They don't have to do any kind of backwards compatibility and whatnot. So yeah, that'll be good.
Kind of like what WoW did.
Yes, exactly. Same basic idea. This is Final Fantasy XIV we're still on. There will be a new race. The tease was a Bugs Bunny shirt. They like to do this where they'll wear interesting costumes or a T-shirt that's kind of alluding to what's going to happen in the next expansion. And so one of the developers had Bugs Bunny on the T-shirt. So we're speculating this is going to be the Viera from Final Fantasy Tactics, but it'll be introduced in patch 4.5. So still, this version of the game still Stormblood. It won't be the next one, so that'll be interesting. Also, still in Stormblood, they announced the Blue Mage. There'll be a lot of people excited for that one. For those not familiar, the Blue Mage essentially is able to learn abilities from monsters and bosses and use them against others. So they're kind of a copycat class. They're really fun. It was announced by Yosuke Matsuda. He happened to be sporting a blue mask, a blue cape, and a staff with a blue gemstone. So they kind of went over the top, saying, "This is what you're getting." Cool. While in combat, they essentially will cast a spell, and if the monster does their special ability, then they can essentially copy it and then start using it. They teased a lot of abilities will be active once you've learned them. You can equip 24 of them at once. So it's very interesting with the different mixes of stuff, because that means there's going to be more than 24 abilities you can learn. But then you have to pare it down and see which ones work well together. So it'll be interesting to see some of the ability builds that are going to come.
Yeah, definitely.
It's not going to be attached to any other classes, much like Mechanist, Red Mage, DK, to where you don't have to have learn a primary class to then learn this new one. Like the bards, to be a bard, you had to be an archer first. And then it'll be a limited class to start. It's not designed for endgame yet. It'll be limited to level 50 at release, but it will have its cap raised in patches over time. So it might eventually get to where it's max level. But
this is in Final Fantasy XIV. Remind me, one character, many classes, right?
Correct. Yeah, it's that way you don't have to have alts if you don't want to, because the alt is your class. You're basically just like for example, I have a bard at level 70, but I also have a summoner at 62. So you can essentially, you're literally bringing the player, because the player can choose what class. So, but you don't have to level up a class you don't want to. But there is a bit of cross class stuff going on. That's why it kind of talks about how the Blue Mage doesn't need another class to do its thing. Right. But it's still, there'll be some. They kind of got rid of a lot of the cross class words are hard stuff when Stormblood came out, so that it's you're not required to level, like you used to have to be able to do. I think the monk or the hand-to-hand one. I forget the name of that one, but you had to level like several other classes to get their signature abilities to then be on your main class. They kind of did away with that. Okay. So now it's like there's a tank list of things, and there's a DPS list of things, and there's a healer list of things, and you just choose from that list now. So you still get to have some of those cross abilities, but you're not required to level those classes anymore, because they figured that was kind of a hassle. Not everyone wants to play all the classes, they're good with their main class. They don't want to have to go through and level up another class again just to get the maximum out of their main class. So,
no, and that makes sense.
Yeah, that was a good change. The Blue Mage is likely going to be available in patch 4.5 along with that new race. They're expecting that to hit January 2019. Part 2 of patch 4.5, wrapping up Stormblood storyline, will be late March. So, look forward to that. That's finally giving us the rest of the closure in that big story. To allude back to what we were talking about before, the world visiting details, they are adding new data centers. I think at least one. So they're going to be shuffling some servers around. Goblin, which is where we currently are, is actually going to be relocated to the new Crystal data center from Aether. As a result, there will be free transfers available for characters affected by this move. As far as we're aware, we don't have any current plans for AIE to move anywhere just yet. We'll let you know if that changes. And there is a Shadowbringers trailer and a Blue Mage reveal trailer in the show notes if you are curious.
Yep. And I think that's what we were referring to at the very top, where it says the scene in the video of the Fan Fest. Right?
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Awesome.
So that's the Shadowbringers trailer.
Yep.
And the Blue Mage reveal. Yep.
Mm-hmm.
All right. And in ESO news, this year we saw a resurgence of interest in the game as the improvements in both quality of life and game content attracted players back. Much like, No Man's Sky.
WoW.
You get that big content patch that fixes a lot of stuff, and people come back and give it a second chance and like, oh, this is really good. So, expect that with Fallout 76 as well. Kenny was named director and has been leading and encouraging a number of well-attended mandatory fun nights ever since, which is awesome. Congrats, Kenny, on that.
Yes.
And there have been a number of DLCs launched as well, including Somerset Isles expansion, some werewolf fun, and even needed attention for the Argonians in Murkmire. As for upcoming events, there are 2 in-game events still scheduled for this year. The Undented Celebration event, which is November 29th through December 5th, will reward event tickets once per day when your group kills the final boss of a dungeon. And the New Life Festival. Happy Life Day, Captain. All right, no, New Life Day Festival.
That was the other day.
December 13th through January 2nd will award 1 event ticket the first time you complete a festival quest each day. Reminder, those event tickets are used to buy the 4 Indrik feathers needed for the new Indrik mount.
Awesome. And in Eve news, God, what a bunch of lousy murder hobos, right? Eve's going through another donut domination phase, and the crises, plural, that will always follow. So prepare your buckets to harvest new rivers of tears. Good for the game, even with Prolibus buying CCP and investing in other CCP games and pet projects. We'll see how Eve evolves or morphs to survive a few more years. POS, that's player-owned structures, are finally deployed, finally retired now after almost 11 years. A new Sino and JP jump bridges were also deployed.
Yep.
All kinds of shenanigans.
Always.
And speaking of shenanigans, in Guild Wars 2, it's always hard to tell what's going on because ArenaNet likes to play things close to their vest. But Guild Wars 2 had a really good year this year. The failure of Bless Online and some streamers deciding that Guild Wars 2 was a decent alternative really raised the profile of the game. There are still some Black Friday sales and giveaways, so go ahead and have a look at those. In-game, the annual Winter's Day holiday is coming up soon, in line with the ArenaNet new policy of not making events and achievements one-offs. If you're short on karma, the Winter's Day Orphans Karma event should be able to help. As far as the guild is concerned, we've reached level 23, installed out a little bit. Hopefully we can regain progress in the new year and keep expanding the guild hall. Monday fun nights are still generally scheduled, but we'll skip around Christmas and New Year. So again, as we were saying, pay attention to those schedules because, things get crazy in the holidays.
Yep. And in Lord of the Rings Online news, just a reminder, the Legendary servers were opened, and it's something the AIE team jumped on. It's basically the WoW Classic of Lord of the Rings Online. We do have a guild there, and a handful of people are kicking off new old school characters. The guild name is now Alia Iacta Est, as DM Adrahel granted us a rename from AIE.
Awesome. Okay, so that was a lot of news.
It was
a great wrap up.
And a lot of activities.
Yeah.
AI, you guys did a lot this year. So I got a question for you. It's the last week, it's the last show of the year. Then this weekend was Thanksgiving in the US. So what are you guys thankful for? I'm gonna go ahead and start with Mr. Mew.
Well, definitely thankful for my guild, for my friends, because all of these online experience, these social interactions, they just don't work without friends.
Mm-hmm.
All of my fellow raiders that give me the real reason to keep playing, make it more fun, doing things together. Thankful for family, thankful for, just being here in general. But yeah, that's thankful for our guild.
Awesome. All right, Tet, what about you?
I am thankful that we have had such an active year, not only in AIE in the World of Warcraft, but how much the SOTOR Guild has picked up, how much ESO picked up, Final Fantasy 14. It's nice to see the scope of AIE expanding and everyone being active and getting to play together. Like Mew said, it's the community really is the highlight of the year. Because when you get on and you get in online games, typically, just trying to find somebody to play with that's not a troll can be difficult if you're just trying to, do a pickup group or something like that. It's nice to have the guild community there to know, hey, this new game came out. You guys want to go explore it? Okay, this is really cool. Let's set up a little bit of a structure and, keep the activities going and have fun with it. So I am just thankful the AIE Guild exists and that everyone is having fun in it.
Awesome.
What about you?
Well, also one thing about the AIE Guild is seeing the way that we always come together. We have officers that aren't able to do what they used to do. We see where we have places that we need more help. The fact that there's always somebody willing to jump into those spots, which is wonderful. I'm also thankful that we got through AIE 300 this year, or the podcast 300, because that was so much fun. I guess that can also go in the next question there. But I've loved that. We've seen, even just talking about this episode, we've seen many people jump to the challenge of doing what they can for AIE in real life, in our gaming life, and that is wonderful to see. I'm just thankful that we always have this great sense of community in person, online, through Discord, through various chats, in games, and it really is a beautiful thing.
Awesome. All right. So what was your favorite AIE moment this year, and what was your favorite moment in gaming this year? And we'll start with McCullough on this.
All right. So obviously, our 300th episode, which was a labor of love, and we were able to get several of the previous hosts involved in either interviews or coming on the show. And it was great to podcast again with Accusad. And of course, Lank wheeled his way in like he does. But another one of my favorite moments actually was spending time in real life with my two co-hosts, obviously one that I'm married to. But the fact that Mew and Mrs. Mew were able to come down for Phoenix Comic-Con this year, we were able to have a guild dinner at one of our favorite joints, Chino Manditos. We were able to spend physical time together. We were able to have, breakfast on the Sunday, and then another guild dinner on the Sunday after Comic-Con, and just kind of that real life guild hall. Since we're not able to make it out to BlizzCon, just that kind of real life. Here is our community, piece of our community together.
Awesome. What about you, Mew?
Yeah.
Oh, she stole mine by overextending. That was mine.
Oh,
But yeah, it's being able to actually do an in-person AIE raid in Phoenix.
yeah.
Was
Raid
a fun
Phoenix.
it was a very fun experience. Also the interesting experience of in-person murlocking. That was that was curious. But yeah, just it's that might be our go-to now, especially without a Nerdtacular for us to all gather in. So it's kind of the new AIE moments are going to be the ones that we create.
The small private ones.
Yep. The Phoenix. It sounds like they're wanting to do one up in Chicago next year. So we're hoping to hear from that. Those are the moments that we're going to look forward to now when we can all get together in person. So yeah,
Definitely.
What about you, Jet?
Definitely the 300th episode, getting to interview Dills for that, and just getting to talk with the other former co-hosts and just kind of look back over the creation of the podcast was a ton of fun. And yeah, definitely getting to see everyone in real life here, and the real life meetup and that sort of thing, because I think that's what the AI Guild really is it's both the guild in game, but it's also getting to meet everyone when you get the chance outside of game, like the folks did at BlizzCon, like we did for Phoenix Comic-Con, that sort of thing. So those are always the fun times when you get to actually meet the people you're playing with online in real life and go do stuff. So
And I realized I have a correction to make. The podcast host that came on the show with us for 300th was actually Gomez, and then Zod joined in a different episode as a surprise. Correct. So, and I apologize because I do apologize.
If you want to be technical, Zod joins us every episode.
He does. But I was, none of us were able to actually podcast with Gomez as a co-host, so that was really neat. Him coming on with that. So I apologize. My brain jumped podcast. Like, no, that wasn't right. And by the way, we have an update from Max about some guild events coming up in person. Chicago in April, which is, I believe, for the SOTOR.
Yep.
The Star Wars celebration.
Yep.
The Cantina. Yep.
Indiana in September, and PAX is also becoming a thing.
Yeah, the Indiana one, I believe, there's a new Comic Con happening in near Cyrene. So that's what's going on there.
Yep.
So. Yeah, and the Chicago one is Star Wars Celebration, and the SOTOR folks are going to be there as part of that. So.
Yep. All right. So then my question for the two of you, and eventually me, what are you looking forward to next year, both in real life and in gaming with AIE? And we'll start with Tets.
All right. So next year, I definitely want to see all the photos and video and stuff coming from that Chicago meetup, because that's going to be amazing. So Max, take lots of photos, please.
Pictures, sir.
Yep, exactly. We want to see video and see everyone at the meetup. So that I'm definitely looking forward to. And in gaming, I want to see, WoW is my main focus, so I want to see where this story's going. I want to see, how committed are they to this faction war? How committed are they to this Decision Matters thing that's coming up in 8.1? Where are they going with this? But also, I am very interested in where SOTOR is going back to Imperial versus Republic fights, now that they've gotten rid of the big bad for now and are going back to the infighting, much like WoW just did. It'll be interesting to see the storylines and stuff that comes out of SOTOR as well. So that's what I'm really looking forward to. And so what about you, McCullough?
Well, I've not been gaming a lot this year, but I have a 3-week break coming up.
Yes, you do.
So wow. I definitely want to sit down on the keyboard and, play with some pixels and have some fun, kill some things, find something that's going to kind of scratch those itches I need gaming wise. I'm kind of contemplating going back in the Secret World.
Yeah.
Of all things.
Awesome.
Yeah. It also, playing around with WoW a little bit. I never finished the last expansion. And I want to find something that's going to kind of take care of that part of my gaming. Real life, you mentioned you guys coming down for Phoenix Comic-Con. That would be amazing. A Guildy Rabbit, you guys raid with her, and I are actually talking about doing a D&D podcast.
Awesome.
So we're playing with some ideas there. She, in fact, went over our notes. She was working on our notes today. Looking to start in February. We're still playing around with some ideas, names, some different concepts, but we've got something really good, kind of a beginner's guide to D&D. Then looking at the evolution, how you build characters, what to expect from a game, what you can learn from gaming, things like that.
And what about you, Mew?
Yeah, Mew. What about you?
Yeah, I feel like I'm the only one not doing a D&D podcast nowadays.
Right?
I'm not, but I'm just playing in real life.
Yeah, yes, in real life. But I'm definitely looking forward to Phoenix Comic Con again, because that's always going to be a good highlight, I think. Other than that, as far as gaming, obviously very interested in the Warcraft story. I'm definitely in these games for the story. This is. I don't read enough books anymore, but it's because gaming kind of has become my book. So I want to see where this story goes. I too want to see how the story branching is going to affect things. I'm curious to see where the Star Wars SWTOR story is going. I'm interested in see where some of the non-SWTOR Star Wars stories is going. Mm-hmm. And I'm curious, how Fallout 76 is going to shake out. As we mentioned, I think that it's waiting for. I mean, it's got a solid beginning, and it's waiting for a cleanup patch. It's when that hits, I think that's when this game is really going to start just exploding, because it's already got a good basis. I know I'm hooked. Several people I know are hooked. So I'm kind of curious to see where it grows. So yeah, just. Yes, gaming in general, and thinking of doing a bit more with my Switch of all things.
Awesome!
Yeah, it's been calling my name. I got Diablo 3 from BlizzCon for it, because nice. I have not played the Necromancer yet, so I figured that might be
awesome
where I'm
and overpowered.
Yes, that sounds like a good class to do on there. And also thinking of getting into that new Pokemon Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee game, because of its interactions with the Pokemon Go on the phone.
Yep.
So
yeah, the Hordling's enjoying that.
Yeah, and I hear if you get the one with the ball actually enhances the Pokemon Go game. So that's what I hear.
Yep.
Yeah. So very curious about that. Yeah, it's been a nice little thing to be out in the open and do a bit of Pokemoning. There's a couple of really good mall areas that you can walk up and down and just go crazy, and it kind of gives you an excuse to walk around.
Awesome. All right. Well, I think that is going to be our show for tonight. The chat room begins suggesting show titles. We want to thank everyone for joining us each show. We really appreciate everyone that joins the chat room, listens on the feed, responds on Twitter, sends us emails, that sort of thing. We really, really enjoy having you all folks here.
And the officers that help us write the show notes, and we say, hey guys, what's going on in your game? Even though sometimes we have to nudge a little bit.
Nudge, wink, wink.
Yes.
Say no more.
Nudge, wink. And if you have a question or comment about the show, you can email us at podcast@AIE-guild.org. You can follow us at Twitter. The show is at AIE Podcast. Mew is at The Mew Cow. I'm at Cyberwaif. Tetsumi is at Ivory Tiger. We record live every other Sunday normally at 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific. Join the chat room and play along with us at our website, which is AIE-guild.org/podcast-live-stream / and our Discord server for chat, which is bit.ly.AIE Podcast Discord. Our theme was composed by the amazing Andrew Allen. Follow him at Keys with Soul, or visit his podcast. Wow. His website, keyswithsoul.com.
And now it's time to play the great AIE member segment we received this week, which is Ask Buxley.
All right. And next time, reminder, we'll be talking to you in the new year. Mm-hmm. So until then, AIE, this is Tetsumi.
This is Makala.
And this is Mukau.
And this has been the AIE Podcast.
Dun dun.
Don't you dare.
Yay.
You knew it
Oh,
was
there
coming.
we go. Okay, then I'll allow.
Wait, let me put that in there. Oh, that's funny. All right. That's awesome.
Yeah, so sorry about spilling my glass of water during the middle of the podcast and it shattering
Yeah.
everywhere.
Yep. It kind of phased me for a second,
I
but
was
it kept
like,
going
what the
while you
heck?
were cleaning.
Thank you. Yeah. Oh my gosh.
So what did you just knocked it off the desk or
Oh yeah.
Yeah, no, I unfortunately saw it because for whatever reason, like my version when I was talking was on you, so I just suddenly see you go whap. I'm like, whoa!
It is the third dish that's broken in our house in 3 days.
Well, there you go. So we're done.
We're done.
It,
The kid
it
didn't
comes
do
in
any.
threes.
There you go. Like Sybil's shamans get ketchup and other condiment puns. Say hey, moments of 2018. Bless you.
Yeah, that's why I'm glad there's a mute button right here.
Oh, yeah.
No, this is the persistent cough from allergies and whatever other fun things because I had a bit of bronchitis.
Gotcha.
So
That's what Janet said.
yep, it's just that annoyingly persistent nagging thing. It just won't go away
Yeah.
unless I suck one of these down.
Yeah.
Doesn't help with all the talking.
All right. So we have title here, Chino Banditos. I want Chinos right now. Cyberwife gets her wish, an X-Wing pilot license. Cute throwback, but granted, Apple's has been giving me crap about this for a while. Shamans get ketchup and other condiments, or best AIE moments of 2018.
Well, I think it's a little on the nose, but I like the bottom one.
Yeah, I think that's a good.
The other ones are funny, but it's that's pretty much what's going on.
Yeah. So. All right. Thank you, chat room. We will see you next year.
Yes, thank you guys so
yes.
much, and for your understanding with our weird scheduling. We went through the calendar, like, okay, we have this going on and this going on, and this, like, okay, we're just gonna call the show at the end of November.
Yep.
Exactly. So,
Yep.
feel free if there is stuff that you want us to talk about on that first show of January. What happened in December, accomplishments, highlights, things like that. Send it in podcast@aie-guild.org, and we'll get them on the show.
Yeah, definitely. And Max said, yeah, it would be great to get people to listen to the full roundup. So I think that's a good show title. We'll definitely promote it so people can find out what's going on at the guild at large and not just their individual division.
Yep.
Because it was
Yeah.
a lot of information. And thank you to everybody that gathered that information as well.
Yep.
Yeah, I thought we were leaning that way, so I started adding some more.
Yeah.
We can wrap up
Yes.
or
Exactly. So,
year-end wrap-up stuff.
all right. Yes. And the last question is, Max, are you streaming tonight?
What are you doing tonight, Max? And what are you wearing? I mean,
Oh,
sorry.
wow.
We want to watch.
It's
It went
dark.
straight into AIE after dark.
It's after dark. It
Wow.
stopped. It's the chat room only, and it's
Yep.
probably jogging clothes. Let's be honest.
Yeah.
No, I've seen what Illinois looks like right now. It's gold.
Yeah. So, all right. Here comes Max's response. That's a risk he's willing to take. No,
Yep.
no, he
has
hasn't
not
rebooted the
yet.
stream.
Let
Okay.
us know when you do.
Yeah,
Okay.
keep an eye out on the guild website for
Sure.
the stream and the Twitch, twitch.tv/AIE guild, and watch for things like that. So, all right, I'm going to cut the feed. Have a great evening, and we will see you
Thank
guys
you all
in the
for
new year.
joining us tonight.
All right,
Bye.
bye-bye.